Before I begin, I just want to say if you are someone that is still on the fence about catching up with Unordinary or you dropped it for whatever reason, I urge you right now to pick the series back up again. Because if there is any time to dive back into Unordinary, it is now. Because it's very clear by where the story is going, the direction that the characters are taking, and what has happened in recent chapters of Unordinary, where John has even lost his father. His father died. Like, legit, straight up freaking died. Like, confirmed in panels that, John's father was executed by the authorities. It's just, things have taken quite a different turn within the story. And honestly, this is a series I've been following for years at this point. Like, anyone that has been with my channel for a good long while knows how much I truly enjoy Unordinary. It is a series I read every single week. There obviously is some ups and downs with the story, but it definitely has a lot of high moments, and the overall gradual and slow build-up obviously has been worth it in the end, thanks to John's redemption and development, but also to the latest events that are currently going on. And so I'm just going to say, before I go any further and I talk about the latest events of chapter, 336, I recommend go start the series again, or start it now. It's super good. So let's get into this. So the latest chapter that came out is pretty interesting. And I'm just going to say, like, this is a few chapters behind, technically, actually, because if you use, like, the coins, you can read ahead, and I have read the latest chapters, and I'll talk about that in a moment. But, this chapter alone is just, like, it's setting up John facing the authorities. Literally the end of the chapter, like, John's realizing what has happened to his life, how his family has been shattered by the government, how the very government that's supposed to protect the people have broken his family, taken his mom away, taken his father, silenced his father, and has abused him, taken Sarah away from him, and just any time he's gaining any form of happiness in his life, and he realizes, that, he's about to change, something happens to him to where he is pushed back down into the dirt. And it's crazy, because John is a character you'd think would benefit a lot from being exceptionally powerful, because the society within Unordinary is constantly about the high tiers, the higher level people are able to continuously profit and just thrive within the world, while those that are bottom tier and don't really have much power are constantly bullied, picked on, or just not even really protected by the authorities / the government. And it's honestly interesting just seeing how John fits into the whole story, and just what has happened to his father and family at this point, and just how someone even with exceptional strength is continuously pushed into the dirt if they don't follow the same mold that the government actually wants you to live. Now, what's going on right now with the story with Remi and her whole group and the vigilantes and stuff is honestly interesting, because it's like, for about 100 chapters now, there's been this build-up with Remi learning more about herself and learning, basically what it means to be a hero, to protect people, to be a high tier, and all of that. And it's interesting just seeing how far her character has come. Like, if we look at, like, Season 1 Remi and all that, and then we think about where we're at now with the story, she is just so vastly different from what she once was in, like, now with Season 3 of Unordinary. It's actually ridiculous. Like, she is a completely different character that has more or less harnessed her animosity and anger, or the loss of her own brother, into this force to wanting to protect others, but also do the right thing. And it's very clear by the way the story is going, the direction that, the author is taking, is that it's going to be a very bloody battle. It's going to be a battle to where people are going to die. We've already seen, just with this season, in the last, 40 chapters, a few characters have just straight up been executed. And it's just like, holy crap, like, characters that we have known since, like, Season 1 just are now gone. And it's just like, you can clearly tell that the shift of the story, it's shifting into more of a darker direction, where the story is slowly going to navigate away from the school life into more of a life outside of school, the future, and just how the world can be, changed forever. And I wonder what kind of effect Remi's honestly going to have going forward, because it's like, she obviously is is playing a very dangerous game. We have seen the powers at work here with the government and the authorities and just what they can do to individuals and take away, and they could steal abilities from others, etc. And when you factor all of that in, it's just like, is she going to really be okay? Is she in over her head? Is people going to die around her? How many people are going to really join up with her? And this chapter and the future chapters after this, which I want to kind of get into, it's very clear the principal and his assistant is probably going to assist Remi. I feel like, just judging by what's happening here and how he's been ousted as the principal and been protecting his students from the authorities, that he's probably going to become a vigilante himself. There's clearly something more at work going on here than just what he's told us so far. So much more, in fact. And I think that because of this, he is probably going to be a driving force in the future to really protect our main characters in the story. Now, with him being gone, though, and seeing the future chapters that's coming out, it's very clear that the new rule within the school is just going to be outright horrible. It's basically something like you would think from Harry Potter Part 5, with Umbridge when she came into the picture and she just changed all the rules within Hogwarts and stuff. That's basically what's going to happen with this new principal, to where she's like saying if your power level is like too low or so, you're going to be completely removed from the school. There's a lot of prejudice and all that going on, and it's really gross. It's extremely gross behavior, and it's just what the society within this world is trying to enforce. So yeah, Unordinary, like I said, it is clearly one of the best times to really catch up right now, because more people are finding out about John's connection with his father and who wrote Unordinary or Untitled at this point, but also who actually, has been risking their lives behind the scenes for everyone, those that are weak and underappreciated. And seeing John's decision where it's like, he needs to calm down and think about what he wants to do next long term, but at the same time he wants to take on the authorities, is he going to go to the point of no return and just straight up brawl with the authorities to where he is now on like a wanted list or something? Because he's definitely going to be arrested to some degree, and I wonder, if him making the decisions he's making in these chapters is going to make him where he has to go on the run, which is what I'm talking about with the story, and how it's clearly making a shift from the school life to more of a on-the-run type story, which I think is a nice dynamic that the series definitely needs. It'd be a nice change of pace, honestly, and I look forward to that if that is indeed the direction that Unordinary wants to go down. But yeah, I wanted to quickly talk about the latest stuff that's going on, because honestly, with John's father's death and all that, and then, finding out just like, what happened to his mother more clearly, it's just straight up sad. Like, the man has lost everything. Like, he doesn't even have Sarah around anymore, so it's just like, any emotional support that he has had is now gone. And it just, like I said, it's a very sad thought to think about, because John, as a character, has always been someone that is fundamentally very weak-willed. Like, he lets anger and rage control him, and we've seen that throughout the story, all these hundreds of chapters of him being consumed by this anger and animosity, or wanting to remove himself from the equation in the system. And, despite what he does, he's always brought back in. And, it's finally shown in the last 100 or so chapters he's gotten back on track. He really has found who he really wants to be, but now he's looking to the future of what he really should do with the power he has, etc. I don't know, the story is just told very well. It's obviously not something that's completely unique or new, so to speak, that is brought to the table of powers, heroes, etc. But I think that the way it is told is very smart, and I think, once again, the strongest factors about Unordinary of why I think it's so good and why people keep coming back for it is because of the slow journey it is. Because the journey being so slow, and when things finally happen, the build-up is just worth it. The payoff is so good, and it just makes you so excited for things to come. And obviously, with the way the direction the story is taking, it's very clear that the author is building up for a conclusion of this current arc of the story and setting up for a new direction of the story. So as I said, if there is any time to really dive into Unordinary, now is legitimately the time. If you are interested in it, link is in the description. Do check it out for yourself. It's, like I said, it's an excellent story, and it deserves all the praise it gets, and I cannot recommend the series enough. I've been reading this every single week on a Wednesday for years at this point, and I cannot help but just say, go and read it. But with that, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed my video and you enjoy my content, please subscribe, do leave a like, it does help me out a lot. And with that, Chibi out.